The real Karmamudra is really partnership, a couple practice together. So there is the result of even you don't do shene, so shene is already there. So even you don't seek about the joy, and joy is there, the pleasure feeling is there. And then clarity is there. It's called the salva. And then mitokpa. When you are really in with your partner, you are really kind of engaging practice or even, these things, then the mitokpa, non-dual state. But also the non-dual state, this Deva Salva Mitokpa, the three most important experiences of meditation, three in one. So that's what happens during the Karmamudra. Through the practices, and also when you talk about orgasm, and that's the direct experience of orgasm, bliss, clarity, and non-dual state. So then that non-dual state, you can call it Dzogchen or Mahamudra, whatever. And the blissful state, you can call it tummo, right? And then clarity part, you can call it vipassana. So that's why actually, if you analyze the experiential part of the Karmamudra, so all meditation, all are in one, kind of, that's why it can be very powerful.
I'm Olivia Clementine, and this is Love and Liberation. Today, our guest is Dr. Nida Chenagtsang. Dr. Nida is a traditional Tibetan physician and lineage holder of the Utok Nintig, the unique Vajrayana Buddhist spiritual healing tradition of Tibetan medicine. Born in Amdo in northeastern Tibet, he began his early medical studies at the local Tibetan medicine hospital, and later on he entered the Lhasa Tibetan Medical University. He has published several books and articles on Tibetan medicine, meditation, and yoga, and his extensive research and revival of ancient Tibetan healing methods has earned him great acclaim in both East and West. Dr. Nida is also the medical director of Sorg Kong International and the Soa Rigpa Institute, co-founder of the International Ngagpa Institute, established to preserve and maintain the Ripkong non-monastic yogi and yogini culture, and co-founder of Pure Land Farms Center for Tibetan Medicine, Meditation, and Rejuvenation. You took a rare retreat this last year, and curious how that was for you and how it's been post-retreat, because I know you've been pretty much in the world for a very long time. You haven't had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was, great. And as Tibetan proverb says, Jingen Choksa Sharwa, any difficulties and obstacles you can transform into something good and positive. So one part is I had been very busy for working, teaching, and then also because of COVID. So I had the perfect time to do, all together maybe about 8 months, with short break, and it was great. I of course started with a very traditional style, very strict and many hours per day. And visualization, recitations, and this. I did that about 3 months, and then another 3 months, little bit looser, and then at end was very nice.
Have you noticed when you were doing retreat a long time ago, and then now a difference in just the way you approach the retreat space?
Well, in the past, I actually used to do many retreats when I was in Lhasa in Tibet, Many of them, they are short retreats, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I used to do retreat at home in the monastery. For example, I did in Samye Monastery. That time you are still able to do retreat there. And then in Chimpu caves. And when you are young, I'm joking. I think when we are young, we have this wild nature, inside us. So we are more drawn to the wild yogi style or Mahasiddha style, you know. We want to do lots of mantras and meditation, this and that. We want to see the CD and magic power and, you know, liberation. It's kind of funny. I think that's something to do with also our age, you know. When we were young, like, you know, we have this kind of young courage or young dream, fantasy. Yeah. So of course, also the other different thing is when I did the retreats in Tibet, it's really kind of traditional way of thinking, you know. And yeah, and now when I do here, yes, I started the traditional way, but also, you know, that the inner quality is more important than, you know, the numbers and, you know, the rules and so on. Yeah.
And what were some of those inner qualities that you were paying attention to?
Well, outer retreat is like you obey the rules, you know, structures and rules, you know, how many hours you have to recite, how to you sit, and you know, how many mantras you have to finish, and what altar should be, what offering you should do, and, you know, all these kind of like external condition, right? And then in a simple way, when you do a retreat, you know, you have a kind of external structure, and that is external condition. And sometimes we pay too much attention to that external part, you know. But then internally can be exactly opposite, you know. I think internally we should find the relaxation and freedom. We have to free ourselves even from the structures and the rules. Yeah. Normally we talk this in the dream yoga, you know. So one of the main goal of the dream yoga is how to break the logic, you know, the logics or the things what we believe, right? So normally we believe if we are locked in, and our, you know, if we need to go out, our first thought is to find a door, you know, to go out from the door. And second is, if there's no door, we try to find a window. If there's no window, we try to find a hole or something. If there is no hole, and then we try to break the wall, you know. So we have this kind of logic mind, the door, window, hole, and breaking the wall. So each of them, we are kind of in the mood of kind of like stress or, you know, challenging, you know. I want to go out. So in order to go out, I have like 5 different methods. If I can't apply none of them, then I get blocked and then get scared or whatever, right? So that's the kind of how our logic mind works. But dream yoga says just go through the wall, because it's just a dream. It's a dream house. So yeah, before my retreat, I was very much with the dream yoga part and dream part like this. But with this retreat, it is not only dream yoga, everything's like this, you know. And also, I think if we are too tight and too conditioned with the retreat, if you come back that kind of mentality, when you come out, also you're kind of too rigid, right? Too rigid, you know. Then many people, I think, yeah, they're having problems after post the retreat syndromes. They think, oh, now I have done retreat, maybe I'm now special, or maybe now I'm different than others. Now I have to sit a higher place. Oh, now, you know, I should receive respect from people, normal people who didn't do retreat. You know, all this, how do you call it? Yeah, all this confuse the state, you know. Especially, I think today, many people, they do retreat. That maybe that's kind of their hidden wish, you know. You do the retreat. After the retreat, you become somebody special, right? Yeah. Because maybe this is also something to do with the our modern culture and education. Because in the modern culture and education, everybody can specialize, right? Somebody says, oh, I did 1 year, 2 years of retreat, now I'm expert, I'm specialized. right? When you say I'm specialized in retreat, it means I'm special. Actually, that is the problem according to Dharma. Then maybe you have a very strong self-awareness, but you don't have the social awareness, right? So I think, yeah, many Dharma people are having that kind of difficulties, Maybe they did a lot. They are good, they finished retreats and numbers and this mantra numbers and so on. But once you come to in real life, you don't know how to connect with other people.
I think that's a good segue into the topic of Karmamudra. I know there's different definitions for Karmamudra. Is there a particular one that you like to use?
Well, yeah. Another thing, before my retreat and after my retreat, before I tried to find a more philosophical, more theoretical idea of Karmamudra, what Karmamudra is, the union of this and that. And after my retreat, actually, it really helped me how it's important to be simple, the simplicity in every practice. So that's why also, if we really talk Karmamudra in a very basic way, Karmamudra means a couple practice. You practice with your partner. Whatever you can do, you practice together, right? There's a yoga. The most of yogas are solo yogas. There's some yogas are called couple yogas. So Karmamudra means couple meditation, couple practice. Or you can call it couple yoga, whatever. The karma means action. Mudra is the gesture. So when we go in that, many things, but Karmamudra also means a karmic partner. Karmic partner means like you really feel this special connection with somebody, with love or chemistry or understanding. It's kind of really like a healthy relationship and healthy understanding love, right? So if you have that, you practice together. I think the main thing is Karmamudra means somebody has a very similar way of thinking with you. Like a little bit everything in your life, the way you live, what you eat, right? Because, our partner relationship, it's kind of subtle. In the beginning, when you are in love, everything is this, because the love can make us blind too. So we don't see, we don't judge, and this and that. We are kind of this hyper confused mood, right? But then in reality, if you really spend the time with somebody, there are so many little things it makes different, right? For example, the food. If the partners, if they eat different food, or like I eat only this, you this, it's already kind of becoming a little issue, right? And then about work, about the way of thinking and lifestyle, there's so many little different things, and I think the little different things is becoming a kind of crack slowly. And then whatever you spiritual reason you bringing, why? Because you had that dream. Why? Because of this. Why somebody's attractive, this, then it doesn't make sense, because then you lose this kind of really inner kind of connection. I think it's a kind of that's what I really believe. Somebody you truly understand and you respect. I think in general it's the same. It's very confusing, right? So when you say you are attracted to your partner, you think of the reasons why you are attracted. Maybe the physical body, maybe somebody you think it's nice or helpful for you, right? So, or it maybe somebody make your life easier. There are many different reasons. Maybe young people, they are more attracted about sexual activities. Somebody says, I love my girlfriend or boyfriend, and we are both sexually very active, blah blah blah, this kind of things. These things are, I call it the spring stage. I'm making 4 seasons for the love. The spring stage. Spring stage is a illusionary spring full of flowers. Full of flowers and good weather. Even there's a storm, even there's a problem, you don't see it. And then from spring stage, you go to the summer stage, is becoming very hot, then sometimes you see the emotions intense and so on. And then the autumn stage, the fall stage is becoming cooling down, Yeah. Then I think like kind of spring, the flowers are finished. Summer, the heat wave is gone. And then maybe your mind is kind of settled down, and then, you are feeling each other in a kind of sad way, this and that. And then there will be winter stage. That will be the difficult part,
Mm-hmm.
Everything is kind of frozen. Yeah. So I believe in this Karmamudra practice, like the kind of subtle body or our channels kind of connection. Because when we say channels connection, actually it seems something like, oh, your body feels something. But I know the channel connection means emotional connection. The emotional, very healthy emotional connection, right? That's not only you say, okay, I love you, love. You really care, and you really feel that person. And you understand without talking, without asking why and how these things.
And going into the practice component of Karmamudra, it's said that it's the most powerful way of recognizing Dzogchen or Mahamudra, that it speeds up realization and the culmination of these two paths. And if this is true, how does Karmamudra have this capacity?
Well, that's true, because when we talk about shamatha, we are more or less talking about mental concentration. When you are truly with your partner, you don't need to force yourself, right? And you are concentrated in your partner is concentrated in you somehow. So that kind of builds this abiding calmness, shine, right? Because if you are truly there with you, and if you are truly there with your partner, and then you are there, your body is there, your mind is there, and your mind is there in the shine state, calm state. And then it's not only a calm state, it's a nice, like attraction or whatever, the nice feelings, that's called the deva, and deva is the bliss or the joy feeling. Again, if you do a solo practice, you try to imagine the yidam and increase the deva and so on. So then with Karmamudra, when you have your partner, it's direct. It's like a direct stimulation and direct experience, right? And then when you experience this calmness and the bliss or deva, the joy, and then your mind has already clarity, because our mind is free from stress that moment, right? But again, some people maybe in the partnership there is a fear or stress and shy, and then we say channels are not completely opened. There is no much complete relaxation, and then maybe you have the sexual desire and attraction, arousal, many kind of pumped up energy, but there's no subtle feelings, right? So that's why I'm saying it's the partnership, partnership traditionally says, oh, like dakinis are younger and this and that. That part, I don't think it's so important. That's something very substance, the idea of some substances, use of substances. But the real Karmamudra is really partnership, a couple practice together. So there is the result of even you don't do shene, so shene is already there. So even you don't seek about the joy, and joy is there, the pleasure feeling is there, and then clarity is there. It's called the salva, and then mitopa. When you are really in with your partner, you are really kind of engaging practice, or even these things, then the mitopa, non-dual state. But also the non-dual state, this deva salva mitopa, the three most important experiences of meditation, three in one. So that's what happens during the Karmamudra, through the practices, and also when you talk about orgasm, and that's the the direct experience of orgasm, bliss, clarity, and non-dual state. So then that non-dual state, you can call it Dzogchen or Mahamudra, whatever. And the blissful state, you can call it tummo, right? And then clarity part, you can call it vipassana. So that's why actually, if you analyze the experiential part of the, the Karmamudra, so all meditation, all are in one kind of, That's why it can be very powerful. Yeah.
You took, the father of Tibetan medicine said that you should practice Karmamudra until all of your sexual desire is done and then go to Mahamudra. Is that correct?
Well, he said, in his teaching, he gave the teaching of Karmamudra as a first teaching and then Mahamudra as a second. So Mahamudra is kind of optional, And then he specifically says the people who has vows, like monks and nuns, and the people who have health issues, they can't engage in Karmamudra, or people who are old. So that's why the way how he expressed, some people, they have specific conditions, or you have vows, or you have a condition, or your age is the condition. Then you practice Mahamudra. But if you do the Karmamudra, so in the Karmamudra, you can experience Mahamudra. But then, of course, I think the introduction is important. If you are introduced, that is the state of Mahamudra, then you get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting way. Also, Telopa, the Telopa is famous, the Mahamudra of the Ganga River. And it's one of the most famous Mahamudra teaching. Yeah, there are many Mahamudra teachings from Kajupa tradition, but I think also from Saraha. But for me, personally, I think one of the best Mahamudra classical teaching is the Ganga River. Not too long, not too many explanations. Very simple, very direct, and very clear. For me, that is, if we say a book, it's really like a kind of high. If someone asks me, what do you recommend about the Mahamudra? I always recommend this Ganga River. Mm-hmm. Very clear. So it's interesting thing. End of this teaching, he, of course, he's giving the mind introduction, Mahamudra. He says, if you don't get it, you practice Karmamudra. And then he says the Karmamudra is dropping tigle and so on. He says, then, Karmamudra, Bondon means enhance, or it will help you to understand the Mahamudra. In a way, he's kind of saying, if your karma is strong and, your merit is powerful and you are kind of very fortunate practitioner, you get the Mahamudra. I give you mind introduction, you practice, you get it. In case you don't get that, Karmamudra. Mm-hmm. So Karmamudra is kind of like, backup of Mahamudra. Yeah, that's a very nice teaching too.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Really like that. Tied into this, you've said that in the Anuttarayogatantra that our problems are actually our talents, that if we have a lot of sexual desire, that's good, that's our talent, if we use it skillfully. And I'm curious, how does that alchemy work?
I think firstly, you should know that, we should know that we have poison. And then secondly, we should think carefully how we should manage it. And then there are different ways to manage, avoiding, that's the, Pangbe Lam in Tibetan. Pangbe Lam is the path of avoiding, the sutra style. And then Tantra, at least to try to, I think when we say the desire is talent, first is like you have a desire, you normalize it, It's something normal that all humans, more or less, we have desire, right? And many people, they feel kind of bad or even feel guilt that they have the desire and they don't want to have it. And, they are saying, if I have no desire, then I'm free from the sin, from the dikpa. But the problem is I have desire, and that's why it makes me a negative person, and then feeling bad and guilt and all these things. So that's why when we say you see as a talent, first is a recognition that you have the desire. And second, we have to think that's a normal thing. We normalize it. Recognition, normalizing, and then we apply our intelligence. We call it a wisdom, jhana, Sanskrit word. But wisdom, I don't know. I'm not so sure about definition of wisdom. But in the common language, we use the intelligence. So I like to use the wisdom as an intelligence. I call it super intelligence. So then the wisdom comes, super intelligence comes, and how we should actually use it. So we use it as a solo practice with visualization, or we use it solo practice with support, or then the best case, of course, once we have a base and we do that practice with partners. Yeah. Yeah, and I know in my book I said just it's a talent. I just said it more Mahasiddha style. Now I'm rethinking. I have to go more, how do you say, gradual. In Tibet, we have two expressions. It's called the Mahasiddha style, Tup Tup Gelu, and the Kepa scholar style. Scholars are kind of careful. They explain one by one and these things. So I'm not a Mahasiddha or nor scholar, but my style is changing a little bit after retreat, because sometimes the Mahasiddha style is kind of rough and tough and fast and furious. And then the scholar style says, okay, calm down, let's see it, clearly in a well-structured and, easy and so on. So I think we have to go in that little bit. Most of people are suffering with their desire and anger and these things, they are suffering. Even love, when you don't know how to manage, it can cause troubles. And then we should manage by ourselves or with our partner and this and that. Yeah. And, we talked about Karmamudra is a partner practice, right? So in that case, if you practice Karmamudra, your partner doesn't like these things, then it's a little bit odd, right? You see, so that's why I'm saying when Karmamudra, karmic partner means, even let's say your partner is a not Buddhist, not a practitioner, but is open-minded, and wanting know these things, respecting you, really that moment being with you, opening, that make things easier, right? So this question I receive very often. Says, oh, I want to do, but my wife is not ready, these things, or my husband is not ready, my boyfriend. It's a very common question. But then it's becoming a little bit problem, So that's why I think at end, a really long-lasting partnership is somebody you share things, you have similar mentality, same interest, similar mentality. And then normally also the man and woman's reaction is a little bit different, Man is a fire, I'm a rosal, his fire is burning, right? But then women is more ice. We have to melt it. Melt it. If you put a strong fire in the ice will crack. So the fire have to be in distance and gentle, and then slowly the ice will melt. So you see, it is interesting in a way, like fire and ice meeting together. So we have to find a very gentle approach with that.
And connected to this heat and ice, would you speak about the heat in tummo and Karmamudra?
So tummo practice, we consider that's preparation for Karmamudra. And many traditions, they are teaching tummo, but then they don't teach Karmamudra, That's probably designed for the monks and the nuns. But in Anuttarayogatantra, the reason of tummo is preparation, like making a foundation for Karmamudra. Tummo, you generate the tummo fire and then you drip the tigles, right? So during the Karmamudra, the partner practice, it is happening. When you are kind of engaging in the practice, whatever, your body produces heat, right? That heat is very similar to tummo. You see, actually, if you understand the Karmamudra, but the tummo's practice is already there. Tummo, we have to use our mental power, visualization, concentration, holding the breath, and then, some yogic exercise. So we have to generate that heat, right? Of course, tummo, we are saying it's the subtle heat, not the physical heat too. But with tummo, we have to bring up the physical heat too. So first inner heat starts, then that increases the body heat. Or first with yogic exercises, we increase the body heat, and that help us to start the tummo heat. And then once that heat starts, then tigle is melting, then we are experiencing the bliss. So detrol, tummo, detrol rangbar means self-blessing, blissful fire, And actually, if while you are practicing Karmamudra, even you don't talk Karmamudra, in general, and the sexual union, there is a heat, right? There is a strong heat, and this heat is a kind of very, it's not a disturbing heat, not the one, I had, and this disturbing heat. Maybe later, after you feel you need to take a shower, too much sweat and stinky and these things, that comes later. But at the moment when, the body is warm and, heat is stimulated, and that heat is already diffused with bliss or joy. So that's called the De Tut. Deva is the joy or bliss, Chul is the heat, blissful heat. That's exactly what we experience, right? Even somebody never practiced the tummo or Anuttarayogatantra, in the ordinary humans, they know that explanations, So I think that is very important in the Vajrayana, and especially Anuttarayogatantra. Sometimes we think we are too special. I think that's the problem, And we think we are too special. We are doing secret practices, and we are different than others. Yeah, then we block, some special area. It's like we block in these special things. In reality, there's no special thing. So I think Anuttarayogatantra directly talking about the human experiences, and how these human experiences we can understand with super intelligence, and then how to manage it in a proper way, and then we get the liberation. I think this is also the reason, if you look at the story of 80 Mahasiddhas, they are lay people, right? Ordinary humans. There are some very rich people like kings, and there are very poor people, farmers, and there are young kids, or there are prostitutes, and there are old lady, desperate old lady, I like this concept of 80 Mahasiddhas, because actually they are just like normal humans, right? Like in our today's society, there are billionaires and millionaires, and there are IT guys, there are homeless people and prostitutes and retired elderly people. They just lost one, don't know what to do. That's our society, that's the biodiversity in our human society. There are so many different kind of people are living there. But in a way, if you get your practice, each of us, we can get our own plate of food. That's why Anuttarayogatantra, I think we should not think it's something, it's a standardized system and everybody have to practice that. We have to know it's an individualized practice, and truly understanding. That's why I'm saying truly to understand what is our ordinary way we think our problem, desire, anger, confusion, jealousy, pride, these things. So recognizing that first, and then normalizing, and then receiving teachings, or then using our intelligence, and then manage it proper way. And then we don't feel like, I'm a homeless person, I never become a Buddha. Not like that, right? Oh, I'm a billionaire, Buddha pass I can buy tomorrow. It's not like that. So it's really something with our human nature, and how our human nature, our body and our energy and our emotions, right? So those are the aspect of ourselves. And some of us, we can use more mind part. Some of us, we can use energy level. Some of us, we can use body part. And some of us, we have to combine them together. So His Holiness Dalai Lama recently, he was often saying, in India, there was an argument why Buddha did not teach Tantra or Vajrayana. He said that's because of individualized. I agree with that, his view, and I think which is really true, Otherwise, yes, Buddhist, you want to Buddhist, you take a refugee, okay, you become a monk or nun, a Sangha group, and this and that. I think in Buddha's time, generally practiced that too, but Buddha as an awakened master, I'm sure he see the other people's conditions and the natures that they cannot give up everything like him, right? They cannot become monks or nuns because the way he talked about the, Four Noble Truths, the truths of suffering, and, the cause of suffering is ignorance and these things, I'm sure he knew these things, and he used many smart and gentle approach, how to transform people's life and how to bring the method of enlightenment in a very different way. So in that case, I like the story of this Guya Samaja. It says Guya Samaja Tantra Buddha gave to the teaching the Indra Bodhi, the king of Odhyana, Indra Bodhi. Indra Bodhi said, oh, I'm a king. I'm the kind of like the richest person in this planet, maybe according to him. He said, I'm not ready to give up everything. And I want to live with my kingdom, with my wealth, with my power. But if there is a spiritual path that I'm maintaining my condition and also I can practice enlightened, he said, I'm able to do this. If you tell me to avoid everything, I can't. So actually, I like that kind of that conversation. Normally, we don't talk about that. That's a good question. But then Buddha cannot say, "Oh no, Buddha always says you have to." The famous Buddha's quote, you have to think and analyze what I have said. Don't follow me because you respect me, right? You follow me if you understand me. So in that case, of course, Buddha's, normally Buddha's conversation with people are very smart. So I believe in that story, then of course he says, okay, you really can't avoid this. Then I manifest in Guya Samaja and I teach you Anuttarayogatantra, one of the highest Anuttarayogatantra. And there, how you embrace your wealth, how you embrace your power, how you embrace, everything you have, right? And then you and, Indra Bodhi had queens too, and how you including them, whole family, whole retinue, and do as a spiritual practice. And then, of course, in the highest part in Guya Samaja Tantra, also it's Karmamudra.
I want to continue in that direction, but due to time, I'm going to shift us into the realm of Chulin. What is the origin of this essence medicine? Where does Chulin come from? Like, who was the one that started to gather these formulas, or what people?
Well, Chulin, I think in the ancient, our human culture, it's always existed, like you can find in the Indian Rishi tradition, Rishis are the guys, who stay in the forest and they are not eating like a gross normal food, and they are depending on special minerals and herbs, this. And also in Tibet, we have this kind of tradition, we call it Changsung. Changsung means similar to Rishi. Changsung means the honest people. They don't lie, maybe they are just living with calcite, only the stone. They just live there, with calcite. And so I think normally when we talk about Chudlen, it's more connected with them. And then also in Chinese tradition and Tao tradition, they have these immortal pills, right? Of course, they are changshu. Changshu means longevity pills, and that's also kind of rejuvenation. But then especially they have this anti-aging pills and then immortal pills. So that's why I think in our human civilization, in many different cultures, they had the idea of Chulin. But then in the Tibetan tradition, so we have the medical one and the tantric one or Vajrayana one. It's becoming kind of very rich.
And for so you have the medical ones that are more based on typology or for
Exactly.
longevity. And then the other kind, the more spiritual oriented.
Medical ones are more, how do you say, for health, So medical ones, before you take the pills, you have to check your typology, the typology according to the elements, if it's your body is more earth element type or elementary type, water type or more fire type or wind type, 4 or 5 element types. And then according to that, you take your, specific substances, right? And for example, if you are wind type, wind type, normally people are kind of skinny and very emotional, very sensitive. And then we choose maybe some specific, let's say, okay, if you're wind, we choose like 5 roots, the plant roots. So roots are in the earth. It's kind of pulling you down, make you grounded. If you're wind type, you're a little bit scattered everywhere. You're not well grounded. So if you take the roots, it make you more grounded, make you calm and relax. So once you are calm and relaxed, maybe you have less stress. That's already becoming anti-aging. So that's why the medical one is kind of very, it goes according to medical theory. And also in a way, it's very gentle. It's a very gentle approach. Okay, so this wind type, we never say you have to do full fasting, for many days, and you practice and you take only herbs. We just tell them you take the herbs and also drink some soup or broth, or take care of your lifestyle, get enough sleep. Right? It's kind of very careful, like managing the practice. And and then also they should receive massage and relaxation. It's very important to get enough sleep, right? But then the spiritual one is a little bit strong. So they don't care much, So that's why I think in generally, and I know Japanese Buddhism is very careful, maybe a little bit too much, you sit carefully, you breathe carefully, everything kind of have to slow down. So maybe the slowing down, the slow meditations, and maybe it worked in the past, because in the past people had time, Today is the day, the era of fast, right? Everything's fast. Fast internet connection, fast Wi-Fi, and faster wives, faster food, faster cars. So sometimes, if you say, do everything slowly, don't rush, don't this, sometimes that's against the nature of how the life is kind of evolving. Maybe sometimes doesn't not work much. So in this case, I think in the Tibetan Buddhism, Vajrayana has lots of offers. You do things in the fast way too, right? You make love with your partner, but also it's a practice too, spiritual practice too. Then it's 2 in 1. I think people like that. Yeah. This kind of very strong structured, it doesn't work much. So I think in Vajrayana, we should be careful a little bit, because in the Vajrayana, everybody is fasting, you do fasting. Everybody's taking Chulin, and you know why you are special. Everybody's taking the same thing. Sometimes, it's too much like this. We have to be careful, right? I know there's some Buddhist group, they're doing Chulin, and then for them it's a fixed, okay, visualization is important, the recitation of mantra is important, taking Chulin is not and it's important, but then how about your sleep and how you are feeling, anxiety or feeling weak and dizziness? They don't care much. Maybe it is, your karma is, you are in the process of karma cleaning, something like that. Oh, pray more, you'll be fine, So I think we should have more medical awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that view a lot. I mean, I think once I heard you speak in a talk you gave, you said you were kind of curious. You felt like there might be some connection between diet, Chulin and rainbow body.
I said that I still believe in that because this very famous rainbow body master, Nyarlapama Dundul, in his biography, there's, actually he was a big Chulin practitioner. So he talks about how he did 5 element Chulins, and then slowly, he's eating some plants and then minerals, and then sunlight, and then breathing, and then he stopped taking any drinking water, and then it seems like he stopped all these things, in a gradual way. Then we call Namka Chulin. It's like he's eating the sky or space. You can see this, his Chulin part is very strong. And in his lifetime, he was born in a poor family. He always had a bad karma with food. And then I think Chulin was easy for him. And in a way, his Chulin part, he mentions very specifically. And then, of course, like we say, we are what we eat. And so if we become the herbs or plants or flowers, and then, so that's our physical self, but that self is the base of our energetic self, and that is the base of our elemental self, or our conscious level of self. So that's why Chulin is transforming our physical body, and transforming physical body means energy is transforming, right? Energy transforming means mind is transforming. So also rainbow body at the end is dissolving into the light. Light means energy. Recently, I'm interested in this. Now in Switzerland and also in the US, there are some companies, they use the ash, if somebody died, they're compressing the ash, make a diamond. So it makes sense, because once we are cremated, human body is becoming carbon, right? But then the ultimate nature of diamond is carbon too. The carbons are in the earth with high pressure and high heat. It transformed into the diamond, and then later, some of them coming more surface, and then we can find it. So the human ash now, they can make this high pressure and high temperature. They can, make it in the diamond. I think in different colors, white diamond, blue diamond. So for example, in that case, our body, the ash is the carbon, and then the carbon can become diamond. In a similar way, our body is made of many chemicals, right? Many chemicals. So if we take herbs or, Chulin, minerals, whatever, we are taking natural chemicals. Our body is made of natural chemicals, and our Chulin substances are very specific natural chemicals. So they must have some chemical reactions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In a simple way to understand that,
I mean, since we're taking everything off the special table today. In terms of tögal and Soa Rigpa, for you, has your understanding of Soa Rigpa just connected to the elements? Has that helped your experience of tögal, just in terms of developing the elements in that practice?
Yeah, if you understand about the 5 elements, that help you to understand everything, 5 element is the foundation of the nature and the foundation of our self, our physical body. And also interaction between our body and the nature is the 5 elements, right? And then 5 elements, for example, if you read some text from Longchenpa, he explains different levels of 5 elements, the gross one, the subtle one, and the great ones, the minor ones. There are many different divisions of the 5 elements, And then when we say wind, and there are 5 types of wind, 5 types of fire, water, earth. So 5 elements can become 25 elements and so on. And, and if you speak in the modern science, there are 120 elements, right? All the little chemicals. I think in a way it's similar. according to science, we are made of elements. And according to Soarikpa, Tibetan medicine or Tantra, we are made of elements. And so, of course, how we are talking about elements and their element is a little bit different, but at end, they are all elements. They are all elements. I'm also saying, yeah, when we take chemical medicines, we should not get scared, because we are firstly, we have to know we are made of chemicals too, right? If we are not made of chemicals, and how other chemicals can help us. Of course, if we take too many chemicals, then it's called excess. It can become a problem. And in this way, if you understand the 5 elements and the different levels or different dimensions, that explains everything. Yeah, that explains our, the physical body. That explains about typology. That even explains about diet. Some foods are more connected with earth, some are more wind, some are more water, and some are more fire, and like this, and how these external 5 elements are nourishing our inner 5 elements. And then our inner 5 elements more kind of, how do you say, we can see in the kind of different layers, and this, and then that's becoming the base of that's becoming base of our 5 sensorial organs, and 5 base of 5 solid organs, and then becoming base of 5 chakras in a subtle level, that's the subtle body, and then becoming the base of 5 mental poisons. Right, and 5 chakras are the location of 5 mental poisons: ignorance, attachment, anger, pride, and jealousy. And then those are also connected with 5 wisdoms or 5 super intelligence, right? 5 jhanas. And then you can see them in 5 dakinis, 5 family Buddhas, 5 herukas, or even 5 types of Guru Pama Sambhava, so 5 types of 5 types of female Buddhas. It explains everything. Even you practice a Singhamukha, why there's one man Singhamukha, and then there are 4 around her, right? It's a 5 element. And then if you, in the tögal, if you have visions, the forms of the elements and the colors of the element and manifestation of the elements. And then sometimes the elements can be like a mix. Maybe you see a pink color, but still it's, it's becoming from the 5 foundational colors. Yeah, and this tögal part, I think in the Nyingma tradition, the focus in this part, but then also in the Kalachakra Tantra, they have this dark retreat. They call it a tongzu. Tongzu means empty form. Empty forms are the visions, the visions. But they are the visions, and you are having visions. It's like you are dreaming, and you are dreaming. Therefore, whatever you see you are in your dream, it's an empty form. Vajrayana, it's a truly like an inner science, inner science. This is a little bit different than some other sutra practices. I'm not saying is better than sutra. It's a little bit different, because a sutra, there's a lots of focus about mind, right? So there's lots of focus about mind. Everything is about mind, philosophy, theories, and how you understand things mentally. Mind is the key point. But when we talk about Vajrayana, it's not only the mind. We cannot ignore our breath. We can't ignore our body. So mind and energy and body, they are completely together, like a synergy. They are helping and supporting each other. So that's why in the Vajrayana, we have lots of the yoga exercises, we use lots the physical part, right? And then, of course, some shamatha or vipassana meditator says, you guys are moving too much, that's the problem. But then we can tell them, you guys are sitting too much. The modern problem is actually sedentary lifestyle, Sedentary lifestyle is the biggest problem in our time. So that's why, to doing the yoga and exercises, and especially paying attention about our physical body, it especially makes sense. I heard from an old Tibetan Lama, I don't want to mention his name. He said, in the West, massage is better than meditation. He said, then at least they relax. I love that. They try to meditate. After meditation, they're angry, nervous, pain, hungry, whatever. Meditation is nice, and post-meditation stress, and also pre-meditation stress, preparation. Oh, do I have the cushion? Do I have the red shovel? Do I have this and that? And is temperature is okay or not? Oh, pre-meditation stress and then post-meditation stress. I'm sure there's a during meditation stress too. Oh, this is good or not, this and that. So if it's a massage, just you lie down and shut up, and somebody doing massage, you relax, maybe take a short nap. I thought that's really nice, to hear that. I think for many Vajrayana practitioners, or in general Buddhist practitioners, I think it's good they learn a little bit about the medicine. I'm not saying they should become, doctors and this and that, but to learn about themselves. And about themselves, about their diet, about their sleep, the basic methods of relaxation and anti-stress and these things. So that's why now we are designing a special Tibetan medicine class for general public. So we call it the Tibetan medicine for self and family care. We want to launch a new kind of very simple, it's for general public. And we want to help actually general public, and especially those who are involved in Vajrayana practice, I think the best is it's good if everybody knows this little bit, but at least the Vajrayana teachers, they should know these things, right? Including Tibetan lamas, including Tibetan lamas. I think we need kind of special trainings too, right? If somebody is having issues, we say, it's your karma, it's your karma. But maybe that's not enough, right?
Yeah, sleep.
And especially about sleep, it's something very dangerous,
Yeah.
And then I know they have some kind of very intense drupchins. And then, of course, the Lama says, we do in the Tibet, but we have to remember, we are not in Tibet. In Tibet, they do this with monks and nuns, and they have time, they are in the monastery for this kind of very intense practices. But here we try to do with lay people, people with a family and people with work issues and health issues, and the stress level is so high and not sleeping and this and that. So that's why I think, this kind of social awareness, it's very important, We need to know where we are, and we need to know who are sitting next to us and who are practicing, right? They're not monks and nuns. I think this kind of awareness is very important. I know some stories in Europe. There's this very intense meditation or drupchins, and then it's not one or two people, they freak out, like collectively, many people, they get to freak out. Of course, if you try force yourself so much, you don't sleep 2 nights, is already dangerous, right? Plus always sitting and, maybe not eating enough, not drinking enough, and all these things.
I mean, what are just on the sleep topic from a medical perspective? Because I saw a lot of studies that have come out in recent years that the recommendation is like 7 to 9 hours, because most people don't fall asleep when they lay in their bed. And so it takes a little while to get real sleep. And then certainly there's from, the yogic perspective of if you do yoga nidra, all these different yogic pathways that might equate to more sleep. Do you know much of the research from the yogic perspective of, can we change those hours, or is it really 7 to 9 is ideal for most people, or is it type?
I stay with 7 to 9. We call the sleepy people, Becken people, water and earth type. Normally they sleep a lot, so they should reduce a little bit. You see, not sleeping is a problem, and oversleeping is a problem too. So more or less the right amount is 7 to 9 is good. Some people, they need 7, some people, they need 8, some people, they need 9. Yeah, let's say 9 is, many people, they are saying difficult. 7 to 8, I think it is good. And then also depends on the age. You know, aging people, for many people, is important to take a day nap too. And then also when we talk about sleep, is the sleep quality. You know, some people, they have light sleep and they wake up often, and then next morning they wake up, they are still tired and weak and so on. So the sleep balance is very, very important. And my personally, I don't like some yoga group says, oh, you do this yoga, you can sleep less. You know, including some very famous Indian gurus, they are kind of criticizing about sleep. I think that is a very, very, very dangerous thing to say for a public. You know, to saying, oh, you have to get up 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then there is a special star, you receive energy. And my answer is, you don't need to get up 3 or 4. The star is out there, you are sleeping, you're already receiving the energy. That's the better way, because then you are sleeping, you receive energy in a relaxed way. And you wake up, you want to receive that, you are pushing, you are forcing, expecting, you know. Expectation closes all your channels. You don't receive anything.
Do you think for the people, like, imagining someone in a cave for decades practicing and trying to not sleep at all because they're seeking enlightenment?
No, that's not true. They are in the caves, they are in the box, but they sleep a lot.
They sleep a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, this time my retreat, so unfortunately, many of my masters already passed away, spiritual masters, the old generation. I have a young Gelupa Geshe, my teacher, you know, and he finished his Geshe degree in Sera Monastery in Lhasa. So I met him in Lhasa. I studied all the Gelupa trainings, you know, the Sutra, Tantra from him. And then he did over 20 years of retreat. Yeah, mountains and caves and this and that. And now he come back to the city, Shinin. And so he bought a very fancy apartment. And he does 6 months of retreat every year. And so, he said, oh, I tortured myself too much. He said, I tortured myself too much. I need to have a good sleep. And actually, he was saying, like, if that is the only condition and this and that, I think also what he was saying is like the expectation, you know, you want to get enlightened. I stay in a cave, you know, I don't want to sleep, and pushing too much, then you get spiritual burnout. But the symptom of spiritual burnout, we should not call it the Mahamudra state, right? That's the symptom of exhaustion. So that's why, he's a very funny, you know, of course, he's a great scholar. He doesn't like to teach much. He said people don't understand. So he prefers just to, you know, help people, whatever they need to be helped. And meditation part, retreat part, he's very, very, very experienced. And I really appreciate the way how he expressed about retreat, you know. As I told you, you know, when I was young, I did lots of retreats, you know, I have lots of expectations, this and that. I think he did similar way. So when we are young, we have a mode, we do this and that. But I think also, many spiritual qualities, they come when we are relaxed, you know, and when we are gentle with ourselves, right? So when we talk about stories, how the Telopa tortured the Naropa, and we cannot call it a torturing because it's a purification of karma, or how Marpa kind of tortured the Milarepa. Milarepa suffered a lot, right? And then, you know, we get stuck. Okay, Mahamudra, okay, tummo, like Milarepa, Marpa, you know, the stories, and also Telopa, Naropa. And I think many Tibetan masters or Tibetan lamas, we have this kind of mentality, you know. Of course, we have a good intention, right? We have a very good intention. So our intention to train our students, and this is pure. And then we think, oh, we should do like Marpa or, Telopa a little bit. But then you see, we are not Marpa and the Telopa, and we see our students are not the Milarepa and the Naropa, So I think we need to have this kind of awareness. And so, yeah, and maybe the practitioners, they read the, Milarepa's biography, kind of you are inspired, stay in the nature, this and that. It is good you have this kind of experiences, but also we should not think this is the only way. We talked about Karmamudra, for example, Sukha Siddhi. She got enlightened just in one day because Berupa taught her the Karmamudra and she did the practice. She said next day she was enlightened. She was kind of a bit elderly lady, over 60, and kind of, she was, she was kicked out from her family, and then she was selling this homemade alcohol, surviving there. And then, she met Berupa, and Berupa gave the teaching of Karmamudra, and it says next day she was enlightened, Sukha Siddhi. The blessing of the bliss, she was enlightened. You see, physically changed, transformed, her energy is transformed, the mind is transformed, and so on. I think in the Karmamudra practice, when I say now this story, maybe then some young girl, they think, oh, I sleep with my master and then I get enlightened, overnight enlightenment. Also, it's not like that, And recently, I was listening old Lama from Kumbum Monastery, Kumbum in Amdo. He's a very old Lama, I think over 80s or 90s. He was talking about Karmamudra, in the Gelugpa tradition. I was curious. So he's saying, we don't need to say, oh, what's the signs of Dakinis or Dakas, many things. He was simply saying, this is a partner practice, and both of them, they should be trained, in the meditation practice, and then they know what they are doing, and then you practice together. And he was saying, then it makes sense. I was very surprised. He's a monk. He's a monk, and his teaching about Karmamudra is very clear. And then he's saying, oh, we are saying, okay, we are using some, partners for the empowerment and this and that. He was kind of saying these are just ideas or some unpractical theories. And he was really saying, if you do the practice, you instruct, if a man, if you know the practice, you instruct very well to your partner, So once you have the instruction and then you practice together. I was very amazed, this old Lama, he was explaining that part. And I think that should, that is supposed to be our today's Karmamudra practice. So instead of to saying young Dakinis and this and that and the fast enlightenment, I think Karmamudra, we should call it a couple meditation or couple yoga. According to the famous Jumipam, the Nyingmapa master, he wrote a very famous Kama Sutra text. And this Kama Sutra text, he gives lots of explanations, And he was saying, oh, because of the age, your desire can be reduced. He said, that's why enjoy hard when you are young. That's Tibetan expression. He said, when you are young, enjoy it. When you age, it might reduce your, desire and energy. But he said you should use the medicines too, right? You should use the medicines. And then he talks about mantras and medicines, increasing libido and increasing body strength and so on. It's a very, very interesting. And also, if you know the Tibetan art of love, Genden Chumpel's Kama Sutra, he actually says, this is only Kama Sutra, not Karmamudra, but he gave the all important part of Karmamudra already in that book. Last year I went through his teachings, and the way how he put kind of a hidden part, He wrote about Kama Sutra, Tibetan art of love, but if you read inside, there is a hidden part of the Karmamudra in a very smart way. Of course, that time, if he opened the Karmamudra, he get trouble, right? Big trouble. Kama Sutra, everybody can read, everybody can have fun. And the way how he wrote is very beautiful, but nobody paying attention. It has the hidden information about Karmamudra. So I was very surprised the way how he expressed that. And then the Jumipam's Kama Sutra, he kind of comes directly. He says, this is part of Kama Sutra, but also is Karmamudra, He explains very, very clearly, yeah. And he brings some Tibetan medical explanations and uses of different substances and so on, yeah. So that's why, yeah, somebody is a little bit elderly or somebody needs help from some herbs or even chemicals, Viagra, why not, time to time. And the important thing is, I have a doctor friend and who is an expert in these things. And he was saying many men, they use the pills, like Viagra, they're different pills. And then they are waiting for their body to have a reaction. Actually, if emotionally, if you don't engage, even you take chemicals, it doesn't help, So, emotionally, you are engaging, you are open, relaxed, and good understanding, communication then opens, and then the pills or the substances are helping you too. So that part is very interesting, because sometimes we believe in the medicine or chemicals. We think, okay, chemicals, they will do their job, but it's not like that. So that's why our own emotionally engaging, and love and affection, and also creating all the, what do you call it? The creating kind of non-rush and a nice space and environment. All these things are really important, These things are really important. If you do this practice using some substances or medicine, it's normal. Is not, I'm saying normal, because Jumipam said you have to use it. And then also we have one, we teach one kind of massage. It's called the La massage. And originally this massage idea is coming from that Jumipam's text, And yeah, some people, today they are stressed and depressed. They don't feel their body. And so this is a very soft kind of touching massage. It kind of very, very soft approach. It's not like a massage pressing, just a very gentle touch with some oils. And that one also very, very useful. Yeah. So therefore I was thinking maybe, I don't know, in future, I want to design a kind of massage and yoga for couples. It's kind of basic preparation for Karmamudra,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much, Dr. Nida. Is there anything before we close that you want to share?
And I think the most important is it's very important to understand ourself, not the self of the nature of ultimate mind, the Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, Dzogpa Chembo, not that self, this simple self, right? To understand more about our body, to understand more about our mind, psychological state, and this, we call it the Tamil Jishipa. Tamil Jishipa means the ordinary mind or the ordinary consciousness. And with this Tamil Jishipa, the ordinary mind consciousness, the one, challenging or struggling with different emotions and stress and anger, anxiety, fear, all these things, right? So we should not do, ignore them or repress them. I like this American word, they call it spiritual bypass. Yeah, I think that's a very, very smart word, So we try to kind of ignore this ordinary part, and we are hoping, expecting extraordinary state. That's a big mistake, So we should, right? So the actually extraordinary state is like a crystal, but crystal is in the mud. And so we should take care of the mud, we should not have bad feelings. It's covered by mud, it's okay. The crystal is inside, but don't worry about the crystal, how crystal look like, what's the quality. Just to learn how to wash the mud. Just to learn how to dig the crystal, how to wash the mud, be patient and this and that. So that's why when we understand and when we are relaxed, the ordinary ourself, the ordinary state of mind, and then we have a big hope, to see the extraordinary state of the mind. The body is the same way. Some people are talking so much chakras and channels and this and that, and they ignore the physical body. So if you destroy your physical body with the food or diet, the wrong diet or whatever like this, then the channels, chakras also, they get blocked, and, they are not like the pure light and never get damaged, right? So taking care of this ordinary human body, and that is the first approach, how to understand our subtle body, chakras and channels and so on. And then also we talk about mantra and prayers. Of course, we do lots of mantras and prayers. That's an important thing, but then also we should have more awareness with our speech, right? So how we communicate with people. And, verbal communication. So we call it the verbal action. It is actually action. And, this kind of thing, right? Normally we think, okay, our verbal action, we are free, we don't care it's harming or doing bad or this and that, that part I don't care, because later I do Vajrasattva. So before you do Vajrasattva, maybe you should be a little bit gentle with your speech, right? Speech is not only speaking, also writing. Some people are very aggressive, It's okay, they pour so much anger, but then if you are doing mantras and prayers, it's good to rethink, recheck, Of course, everybody has a freedom, but it's good to have that awareness too, Especially somebody calling themselves, they are Vajrayana practitioners or Buddhists, and all these things, right? I'm not saying we only have to use nice words. We can use strong words too, but we don't need to pour out too much the hatred and anger. And if you pour out too much hatred and anger, and later if you feel release, you're happy, it's okay. But most of the case, you are not happy. You will get more disturbed, right? You pour out the weapon of your speech and word. If somebody answers you, then you start to fight, right? Then it's becoming useless, We all should remember our ordinary state, the body, the speech, and the mind, and then we need to learn how to relax. And hopefully everybody will study a little bit of Soarikpa.